I think it was a great sketch where the guy Follow Me, I'm Delicious. What's his name?
Garen Noon.
Garen Noon is doing a skit about the Irish election, and it was so good, right? Because he was basically saying, if this was in the US,
Yeah.
you'd never get kicked out of politics for not repaying somebody $3,000 18 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And the top response on there, I clicked on to see what people are commenting on,
Okay.
and Sharon Stone was basically saying, you need to come over here and fix US politics.
Sharon Stone, the actress.
The actress.
Was on to Garen Noon.
Was on to Garen Noon.
Wow, results.
She's got, I don't know, 5 million followers or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's so interesting how kind of colloquial our politics really is.
Yeah, that's what they say. Parish pump politics. I mean, the fact that he has to stand down. Look at the things that Trump said before the last election and what he'd like to do with women and the convictions he has. And Pete Hegseth, isn't it, the Minister of War? The stuff that he's been going, like, we're I don't know, are they right or are we right?
They're definitely right. I think we're quite to the left.
Yeah. But if you just don't pay somebody 16 years ago, that means you can't be president 16 years later because you've made a mistake. We all make mistakes.
But I think the problem with Jim Gavin is, right, if I was doing his public relations, I would have just said, get out in front of it straight away and say, you know what? Yeah, I forgot to pay that person.
Yeah.
If they send me their bank details, I'm going to ping them back $3,500. You know what? It was the recession. We all make mistakes. But I'm here to make change.
Yeah.
Bang, move through it.
Yeah.
But the deliberating and the pausing and the uncertainty is just horrendous.
And in fairness to Trump, and not in fairness to Trump, that's one thing he owns everything. Even though he owns it in a language most of us can't even understand, but he owns it. He gets in there and he owns it. Portland's on fire. We're sending over 500 National Guards. Everyone else is going, Portland's not on fire. And he doesn't care. He just doesn't care. But Jim Gavin was going left, right. I need more documentation. I need time. He should have just owned it. Do I owe that? Wow, hang on a second. Look, before the end, Claire Byrne of this show, I'll have a check written.
Same parents, different timelines, and united by chaos. Strap on, strap in, for the not-so-Christian brothers.
I love that we're starting this episode with "in fairness to Donald Trump."
Yeah, but the thing about it is, right, I always think with him, what is impressive is his just momentum, right? So he just continues going forward at all times.
Yes.
And Jim Gavin is the example to everybody. If you want to get somewhere, you can't afford to pause.
No.
You just have to keep going.
I don't think he paused. He literally pulled out without being rude.
Yeah, but he did pull out. But before that, in his interviews, he was doing too much deliberation.
Oh, yeah.
Pausing.
Did I?
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So it was a tough time for me. My
You should
wife.
just said yes, like you just said. I fucked up.
We all knew he owed it. Everybody, even Claire, even he knew he owed it. If you know it, own it.
We should have given it to him, lads. We shouldn't have given him.
Just
the
go. Yeah, you're right. It was bad time. I did owe that guy money. I'll sort it out tomorrow. That's sorted. Now let's move on. And if you don't shut up, I'm going to move the FCA into Cork because Cork's on fire.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
For this episode of Not So Christian Brothers, really nice energy in the room, and I just love talking about Jim Gavin and Donald Trump as a starter point. I've got a topic for you guys. The topic this week is it's something I've been thinking a lot about now because I'm out in the world on my own. And intrusive thoughts. It sounds a bit woo-woo, but I want you guys to give your take on it as men. Are intrusive thoughts good for creativity and a positive future, or in fact, they're just really damaging? Enjoy.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this is intrusive thoughts. This is a good time to for me to jump to this week from last week, and for what I'm going through, which is grief, and then all there are complications of grief that you don't even realize. There's the bureaucracy of grief, which is unbelievable what happens afterwards. But there are 20 different voices. There's 20 different things. There's a huge feeling of guilt. And I don't know what it is. Then there's this feeling that I've been getting lately that there's a voice in my head that as you tick boxes, as in death certificate, this, you're moving further away, and it's like you're almost. Oh, we've got somebody coming in the door. Oh, You're moving somebody
Oh,
away.
it's still a little bit revealing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Colin.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's just.
Don't have any surprises, do we?
No, we don't.
Getting close to Halloween.
Oh.
Yeah, you're sort of, you get this sense that you're moving further away from the person, and that's a guilty feeling. It's a guilty feeling that you're getting on with life. It's real guilt there, you know.
Like
And it made me
survivor's
think-
guilt.
Huh?
Like survivor's guilt.
Yeah. Like I should be taking Anne along with me, and me moving on. And it got me thinking about what we used to do, and still do sometimes down the country, is when somebody passes on or dies, they close all the curtains in the house for like a month.
Mm.
And they know there's no movement in the house, and the widow walks around for a month, or the widower in a black suit, and doesn't engage. And I think it's only after the month's mind, you know, which is a traditional Catholic thing, that they sort of move on. Now, either that's how they're dealing with their grief, or I don't know, but yeah, it's, you do have these voices in your head going, oh yeah, you're sorting that out with the bank, and you're meeting your guy about your pension, and you've got the death certificate. Boy, you're moving on, aren't you?
Mm.
And then the other part of my head's going, yeah, you are. You like, can you just pause here? You know, remember what you're doing. And I'm going, I know, but I want to move on. I want Anne to be with me as I move on. And, you know, so there's all these, especially in the middle of the night, there are 20 different voices, you know, 20 voices.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unquestionably difficult, right? But I always think life is either to be consumed or it'll consume you. Right? There's not really a middle ground. You try and straddle a kind of a half-baked effort of doing the things that you need to do in terms of moving from A to B, and you end up falling sideways, right? And I think intrusive thoughts have value sometimes. Like we were talking the other day when I said to you, sometimes I believe anxiety is helpful because maybe it's telling you that you need to do some stuff that you're not paying attention to, right? So sometimes it's valuable, but more often than not, you know, it's not enough sleep, and it's stress, and also the fact that it's a primal behavior. So we're, you know, we're on average 85,000 thoughts a day. 95% of those thoughts are negative because we're seeking negative bias to survive.
Oh God,
like we're basically we're an incredibly primal piece of kit. Right?
Yeah.
And our body is super primal, and our brain is reptilian. So it's just basically coming out of the cave every day.
Are we aliens? Are we aliens?
We're aliens.
Well, we are aliens, actually. To another race, we're aliens.
Well, we came out of the sea, right?
Yeah.
You know, like we moved out of the sea, and
With
and
no
we
togs
developed.
on.
You know what?
With no togs on.
With no togs on. Well, we remember, you know, about that Speedos thing.
Oh,
Alex
yeah,
has confirmed that he did send me that video, by the way.
Oh,
about that
really?
conversation. Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
Sorry, previous episode. But the reptilian brain is so old and so primal, and it takes the lead. So when we're tired, it's searching for stress. And the problem is that when you then start to search for stress, what happens is you have like a little man or woman that goes around your head and then starts to open up all the cupboards and saying, well, maybe you should worry about this, maybe you should worry about that.
Yeah.
So we have to notice that most of these thoughts are happening irrespective of whether you engage with them.
Oh, and the other thing that is, when you have all these intrusive thoughts, and they're dark or negative, as you say, causing anxiety, and they generally happen at night at 3:00 in the morning, generally for me 3:28. Okay, I seem to wake up at 3:28 all the time, and then I get up at 5:15. So I would hope to be asleep again by 3:30, but for a couple of nights I haven't. But 90% of what I worry about doesn't happen. You know what I mean? It's like all of these things come. I mean, I was talking about it today, and I remember being in management in radio, and I having this. There was a problem with a particular person, and I had to get rid of them, but I knew the CEO was going to fight for them. And all night I was going, I'll say this to him, and I'll say that, and I'll say to him, I'll tell you what, I'm walking. I'm getting out of here, and I'll lose. I don't care if I lose everything. I have to stand by my principles. And the next morning, and I went into the meeting, and I sat down, and he said to me, "You're actually right, Colm. I was thinking about it. Yeah. Let's get rid of them." So I spent like 90 minutes wrestling with my own thoughts about what could, what couldn't happen, what scenario, what if, what not. And none of it happened. It actually was resolved, you know?
But
I should have rang him at 3:28 in the morning.
I'd say they'd be very, very pleased with that.
Oh my God, he would have loved you.
He would have loved that.
Promotion.
Yeah.
But I think if you think about the negative thoughts and you think about the constant, information that's fed, it's often about being able to pay attention to what's real and what's not, right?
Yeah.
So noticing that it's negative. A lot of the times when I work with people, I get them to name their inner critic. So I always called my inner critic Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump.
I remember you were saying that, yeah.
Deranged drunk who screams at the world, right?
And what was he?
Hmm?
No, you're the deranged drunk that screamed at the world. Who was he?
No, I was talking about you.
Well, I
was
still
quick.
have.
That was quick.
Yeah.
And I think if you can create a name for the negative stuff,
Mhm.
and then you start to notice, okay, where is the sovereign version of me that's actually choosing to be here, to sit here, to move over there and pick up that album cover? There's the me. Now the other stuff that's going on, that's not actually me. That's just my nervous system running a tape of survival.
It's still very difficult though, because
Oh, I'm not
it's-
dismissing how hard it is.
if it's 3:28 in the morning and I forget, I don't. Did I have a name for my inner critic? I can't remember because we spoke about this before. If I do, I've forgotten his name. It's
Can't
probably
remember.
maybe it's Colm Caffrey and then I'm Colm Hayes. But maybe I am my inner critic, because there are what happens is, and I'm sure this happens, an event unfolds in your mind. Let's say. Let's say it's financial, right? So an event unfolds in your mind and you go, okay, right, I need to sort that out. And that's the first, and that's okay, because you do need to sort it out. Maybe not at 3:28 in the morning. And then your brain goes, sort it out. You haven't a chance. Like you're 10 feet under, you're gone, you just forget about it. Just it's not going to happen. And if it does, it's going to drag on for months. And you created this problem anyway. So why should you be the one that will solve it? And then you go, no, stop, guys, come on, stop. And then you go, and then it's 3:29. You go, okay, right. Back to what it was. Yes, there's a financial situation. Can we have the positive guys come in? And they go, yeah, of course, you can sort it out. I mean, think of this shit you've been in before, you know what I mean? And you sorted that out. It's actually, this is a lot less than what that was. So, of course, you're going to, what did you say? He's not going to sort it out. He's a dumbass. And then they're all fighting up there. And I can't separate them. I can see they're just running at each other,
Yeah.
They're just sort of having placards.
So at a psychological level,
why are you smiling at me? You must be giving me
I
help.
think it's a wonderful description. I'm sure it resonates massively with lots of people. Right? And at a psychological level, that's rumination, right?
Right, yeah.
And the minute you move into rumination, you start to spiral into anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
Because now it's just a spiral of thoughts. Right?
I know, yeah.
And there's two, like there's two, solutions to use at 3:00 in the morning, because trying to go back to sleep whilst your brain is in that level of activity is really hard.
Yeah.
Like you're actually burning huge amounts of calories in your brain, right?
Losing weight.
You're losing weight, but you're getting hot, right? Not in the right.
I know what you mean
Okay.
by hot, yeah.
So you can't go back to sleep again. So getting a piece of paper and always having something on your nightstand where you just sit up in bed
Yeah.
and you write down the problem that you're thinking about.
True.
And then you split the paper down and you say things I can control, things I can't control. So sometimes when you have those intrusive thoughts, on one hand you're thinking about the financial thing with whatever, your pension. But the next intrusive thought is, and what if Vladimir Putin nukes Dublin?
Yeah.
So when you start to sit up at 3:00 in the morning, take your piece of paper, things I can control, things I can't control. On one side, Vladimir Putin bombing Dublin. Okay, I put that on one side. Then
I
on
think
the
that's
other
going to
side,
happen.
Hmm?
Look, if I was Putin and I'm playing a game of Risk, right, and I want to take over Europe and we're a neutral country, I'm going to move a couple of nuclear subs around into Galway, one into Limerick, move troops across and then doing a pincher movement. I have the UK and I have the back of Europe. It means they need to move troops into the western side and the eastern side. I have them done on both sides. Bang. So that's,
Okay.
I do worry about that.
Pause you there for a second on the World War III, World War IV. Whenever I am watching you guys chat now, and it's really gorgeous. Colin looks like he's about to boot Justin in the face with his lovely foot. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's sorry. Continue with World War III. His foot is gentle enough now. I find yours quite yeah. Continue with World War III. Sorry.
So on the World War III team, if you
team. Oh, theme. Yeah.
Team America.
Yeah.
Theme. H's. You know we don't pronounce our H's.
Sweet.
No reason. But you know the reason why?
Why?
Because H was always silent in Gaelic.
Ah, right.
So Hospital.
Yeah.
Right?
But yes, sure, I thought that.
I thought it was from country. I thought it was to do with this area you brought up in.
Shut up. So 33 and a third.
Yeah.
Is because in
Tánaigh is there's no H.
There's no H.
Tánaigh, yeah. Okay.
So we don't like traditionally. Sorry.
So then a really good Irish accent is the one that has no TH at all, and the fella's just talking like that all the time. But yes, that's great. Anyway, so that Putin lad, coming around here with his nuclear submarines.
Coming around here.
Taking over Thomond Park.
So if you want to go right down that hole, look at the Russian planning mission for the embassy in Dublin, because they had troop bunkers for 150 troops.
There you go.
And thankfully Dublin County Council went, why do you need that?
The County Council went, not enough windows. Some more windows there and you can have your bunker. Yeah.
So
anyway, sorry. So Putin, Park Putin.
So Putin, World War III is potential, right?
Yeah.
But you can't influence or control it, right? So on your piece of paper, things I can influence and control, things I can't. So you dump on one side, things I can't influence and control. And this works. This is proven in terms of managing your brain. And then the things
I do it on my notes on my phone.
Yeah,
because then I'm going to have to doom scroll on TikTok, and I'm going to see the plans to invade Ireland.
And you're going to start watching, Putin tanks, nuclear war. Stay off your phone.
Irish dancing with Putin.
Stay off your phone.
Yeah.
So piece of paper, and then when you get onto the things I can influence and control, so it's the pension, then you just literally list 2 points of action. So it might be, I'm going to phone my financial advisor tomorrow, and I'm going to phone my accountant tomorrow. And then your brain actually goes, okay.
So
park that.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So you can actually kind of land the plane again and get back to sleep. If you just ruminate, you will stay awake.
What I try to do is I try to divert my attention. So I start thinking about the last episode I watched of Black Rabbit. Have you seen Black Rabbit yet on Netflix? Oh, unbelievable.
Really?
Jude Law, Jason Bateman.
Oh, I've seen the advertisement.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Restaurant, and it goes
Bateman.
Tits up, and what they have to do to try and save it.
It's very dark.
It's very dark, but it's really, really good. So what I tend to do the other night when I
So when you can't sleep in the middle of the night, you tend to go to the episode of the show that's really, really dark to help you go to sleep.
And what I try to do is I try to guess the next episode.
Nice. That's like 2 minuses making a plus kind of thing.
No, so I try to do, if I was the screenwriter now, if I'm the screenwriter or scriptwriter right now, and this is all the information I have up to episode 7, and I have one episode left, how do I write? How do I finish it? How do I land it, finish it, write it, and everyone is, And so that actually helped me. But that was just completely diversion off the scale. I do like writing down the list as well, and then I can also write down what I think the next episode should be.
I think TV is an interesting thing. I remember when I had really bad anxiety, it was 2015, and Breaking Bad was the big TV show.
Okay.
And I was flying a lot, and I was watching it on flights.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not an international drug dealer, cooking ketamine in my basement, I actually started to find that I was feeling really quite overwhelmed and worried about what was going on in the show.
Yes. The show was powerful like that. It did give a lot of people anxiety. Yeah. And also ideas.
I'm sure a lot of people made a lot of money out of it, right? But I think you have to really mind yourself in terms of where, like, I know you like dark shit and that, but I think for most folks as well, you have to kind of be guarded. Like, it's like, if you're feeling a bit sketchy, if you're feeling like your mind is anxious, if you're feeling stressed, I think you have to think about, who am I spending my time with? What am I watching on TV? What am I reading? What's on my phone?
So you say maybe rather than Black Rabbit, I should be more towards Peppa Pig?
Yeah.
Okay, and guessing the next episode of Peppa
Yeah,
Pig.
the next episode of Peppa Pig. Or
Well, I'll have
Clueless
Daddy
is nice.
coming in with his submachine gun, going, Putin, Putin. Putin's here, Daddy. Yeah, I
think what you consume
Mm.
is so important, because I think it's like it feeds into our dreams, it feeds into everything.
My son, and I don't know if he's going to listen to us because he listens to and watches some of them, but he can't watch scary. He couldn't even watch Stranger Things because it made him too anxious. He can't watch scary movies. He won't watch Black Rabbit. He won't do. And his fiance is the same. They there was a great movie we watched recently that was quite a. What the one we went to the movies? Sorry, we went to see the Leonardo DiCaprio one, Holly and myself, which is a great movie. It's very on cue with what's going on in the States at the moment. Anyway, but Alex said he couldn't watch it because it would lead him to too much anxiety. So he is careful what he consumes.
But I think that's great, right?
Yeah.
I think so many times people don't bring a sense of awareness to what they need to have. Like, I'm really conscious about who I have in my life, who do I want to talk to, who do I spend time with. I've learned over the years to do things that I feel congruent with, and to not do things that bring me any negativity. Because, like, there's enough negativity floating around the place
No, I
anyway,
know, yeah.
without getting sucked into more.
But I don't mind dark movies. I really don't mind. I don't mind end of the world movies. They're quite often my favorite movies. Like Civil War, which was on a couple of years ago, about the entire decimation of the United States. I was like, wow, bring me some more.
Does that mean you can't be helped? Does that mean that you're doomed?
I don't know. It's just probably because I'm big into movies. I just don't do horror movies. But other than that, I don't mind.
Movies.
I don't mind what it is.
Rosemary's Baby,
Huh?
Exorcist. I love all that kind of stuff.
No, there was
Rosemary's
another
Baby.
one we watched recently, Holly and myself, and we were describing it to Alex, and I think he actually left the room. Man is 31. He left the room because of the description of the movie. Yeah, but
But I think the awareness side, right? I think Alex's awareness of it, and I think, like, I love dark movies, I love horror, but I also think, okay, what do I need right now? Like, after we've kind of been through everything with you and Anne and the funeral and everything else, definitely, like, in the kind of 3 or 4 days post that, I'm kind of thinking, I need to be out walking more. I need to be slowing down more.
Yeah.
I need to think about what I'm eating and drinking and sleeping, because this all has a real residue for everybody who's attached to it, right?
Mhm.
And like, I think that 4 weeks before the month's mind, in many ways, you're kind of like having to take a bath in your grief, and then you're slowly kind of washing it off over time, to the point that you then come to that month's mind with a reality of saying, okay, I now want to open my curtains and start to move back in. I don't think it's a bad idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think maybe I think if you do that and you closet yourself into a house and you don't move and you're only with other people who are also suffering the grief, maybe the universal suffering or that complicit suffering of grief with the people grief in the house is good, or maybe it's, whoa, this is a lot. Because the one thing I've learned about grief in the last couple of weeks is you do not know when it's going to come. And like, I'm back on radio, and the red light goes on. I'm a broadcaster, so it's all jazz hands and trying to make people feel happy about their own lives, because that's what we do. But then something might trigger a piece of music. There was a Snow Patrol track we played last week in there, and during it, I had to leave the studio. So you think you're, not that I also don't want to come out of grief yet. I don't want to stop grieving yet. I'm not done.
You're not going to. You're not going to be. I don't think it's an element of choice.
No, I know. But people say it'll be fine. You'll be better.
No, but that's because all the people know how to say.
I know exactly. Because I say I probably won't be fine, and it'll be different.
Exactly.
Yeah,
A, you're not going to be fine, and B, you're not going to be better. You're just going to be different.
Different, yeah.
Like, life just takes a different perspective, but it doesn't get any easier. But to be frank, was it ever easy in the first place, right? Like, the reality is, life is just hard, and then somebody dies and it becomes a whole lot more difficult, and then you have to learn to navigate that.
Don't you say that? I've got to watch my feet again because I'm about to kick you. Don't you say that life is an unrelenting unhappiness with a series of happy events?
Yeah, and I think this is the biggest problem in terms of young people's anxiety in 2025 is that people are searching for happiness.
Yeah.
And happiness has never existed, right? What we do is
Instagram.
Well, it does exist on Instagram, right? When you see it through
This could be called the Happy Place podcast, or is that name already taken? This is a real
But like in reality, like life is a series of challenging events that you can just hope are peppered at times with happiness. And that's the case. Like if I think about my day today, it was generally hard and difficult from an early time this morning all the way through to when we start recording. And then there's probably like maybe 4 or 5% of that is a couple of jokes and laughs. But if we think it's supposed to be happy all the time,
oh God, absolutely,
then we get anxious and miserable.
Well, the first thing we got to do is survive.
Yes.
From the first minute we wake up, you got to survive. And there's people have different ways then of survival techniques. You know, you could be a workaholic, you could be an alcoholic, you could be stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, you could be going into work early in the morning. You could look for a gag in everything, I was always like that. You could look for a serious tone in everything. You know, so everything we do gets us to the next point, you know. And I find then what happens with all the lads, they wake up at night 3:28, and I won't be dismissive because there were women up there as well, and they sort of bring out the day and the challenges and the things, and then
any gay people
and there's gay, there's
non-binaries,
non-binaries. There's one I won't say fella. There's one day up there with so many pronouns, I can't cover them.
Yeah,
and
Terry's gonna have major edit work.
yeah, and. It's so I do like the idea of definitely I'm going to try that tonight, of getting a piece of paper and working it out.
And I think have a nightstand. You know what? In terms of your own recovery, what's really interesting is if you have like a an A4 pad, when you do it every night, you just shove it into your drawer. Yeah. What's really interesting is in 2 months' time, you go back to those things and look at those dates, and you'll be amazed at what was going on in your head.
And one page will just be red rum, red rum, red rum, red rum, red rum. Yeah. So no, I do sort of keep a type of a journal sometimes in notes, and I go back and I look at stuff I've written, especially when things were pretty bad a couple of months ago. And then I would look at something I've written 4 years previously, and they're only notes; they're not big things, and I can sense the different tone in the writing from my head going, 4 years ago, things, when I say, well, God, she had cancer, but we were mobile, we were going away, there was a lot of hope in the air, but, you go back 2 months ago and look at some stuff I wrote, and you can see that it's a really difficult time, because I'm describing her difficult time,
And I think the journal side is great, and
sorry, go ahead.
and same for me. I think I've had a journal since 2014, and I think in the predominance, my journal is probably more. I don't really celebrate anything in my journal, so it's all the stuff that's going on that's negative.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because you also
that's not going to get published.
No, definitely not. Yeah. But it's interesting to look back because it helps you in terms of growth cycles. Think, okay, where was I at in terms of my mind and where am I now?
Do you ever remember moments in your life? I remember going through a particularly difficult time years ago, and I think it was near the end of RTE. And I was between stuff, and I was playing tennis with Holly. And Holly's friend wanted to play tennis, and she came up to the gym, and they were playing tennis. So there in my head, right? And I was sitting down beside them, watching them playing tennis, and Holly was ecstatically happy, and she was showing off to her friend because she got a few tennis lessons, and her friend wasn't particularly great. And I was going, this is a good moment, but there's a lot of crazy shit coming down in my life, that I don't know what it is, right? And I remember thinking to myself, I should remember this moment because this is a real downtime, and think in 2 years' time, will I remember this moment when I think, ugh, things are really bad, career is really bad, blah, everything's falling apart. And will I be in a place in 2 years' time when I can look back and go, well, you got yourself out of that hole, didn't you? You're doing actually probably better than you have in 15 years. And you're sitting there bouncing your tennis balls against the wall and thinking, things can only get worse, and it's still so visual in my mind. And that's the way I am now, as in I have slight conversations with Anne. I'm not one of these people that will have long conversations with their their wife who's passed on. But I do sort of. So I felt this morning I had to say, look, I know what I have to do, and I know that I have to get the death certificate. But I know things are moving on, but I don't want you to think I'm moving on without you.
Mm.
I want to take you on the journey. And that sort of stuff. Like somebody said to me, this is weird because we have this huge bed. It was a super king size bed, so that when the kids were growing up, everybody could be in the bed, right? And so it's nearly the size of a football pitch now. And somebody said, "Why did you get rid of that bed?" And my first initial was, "Yeah, you're right, because it just reminds me of Anne too much." Yeah, you're absolutely right. And last night I was lying in the bed and I thought to myself, "No, this reminds me of Anne too much. I like it, you know." Well, a couple of weeks ago, this reminds me of Anne too much. I need to get rid of it. So it's interesting that if you wrote that in a journal in the space of 2 weeks, that has changed.
Yeah.
I'm now getting comfort in being in the bed that I was with Anne for 35. Well, the bed's not 35 years old because that'll be in a museum. But you know what I mean? There's a nice comfort to it now.
Well, I think you have to kind of find comfort in wherever you can.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's right or wrong when you're going through this. And I think, we're coming to the end, and just kind of to check in on where you are in your own process right now and your mental health. And it, for me, I think, 10 years ago, how bad and how awful I felt. And, I know I sent you some breathing techniques, training and as a meditation teacher 6 or 7 years ago changed my life massively. And it's made me more productive, and it's made me more successful in my business life. But principally and most importantly, it makes me more successful in my human interactions, like with Luca, with Beatrice, with you, with friendship. It's that ability to be still and, to allow my mind to be calm. And, an entry point in the journey on where you're at is going into therapy, is starting to talk about how you feel. And you started that, right?
I started that, yeah. I started that last week.
And have you been fired? Or have you fired your therapist? Or have you asked for a refund?
It's very funny. There's two things, because you got to find fun in everything. Because we talked about therapy in the last episode.
Yeah.
Firstly, I got his name wrong. So I was calling him Gary, and his name isn't Gary. His name is Jerry. So that was a bit embarrassing at the start. So he started calling me Colin, and I went, like, "Do you know I'm Colin?" And he was going, "Yeah, but you're calling me the wrong name." I went, "Okay." So we had a bit of a laugh. But obviously I'm not going to name him. But he had this little... It's just sort of a little thing that hung down by the side of the fireplace that had some lavender. So it was like a painted thing. And I thought it was my name underneath it. So as we're talking, he's going, "What are you looking at?" And I'm going, "Do you do that for all your clients?" And he went, "What do you mean?" "But like you've hung my name there. It's quite personal." Like
he's like a mentalist, like a Darren Brown type thing.
And he's going, "What are you talking about?" I said, "There, it says Column." He said, "Look at it closer." I went, "Oh, it's Cam." Oh, sorry. It's just the way it's the way the letters are joined. It looked like Column. And
he couldn't really get a more polar opposite either.
and he yeah. And he actually said, "Does that make you feel good?" And I said, "Yeah, it really made me feel warm." And he said, "Maybe I'll start doing that when I know the client is coming in, like Bernard, and there'll be Bernard there with the little sign hanging off." Yeah. So yeah, therapy's working.
Maybe we could get you trained as a meditation teacher, and then you could be Calm Column.
Calm Column. Yeah,
CalmColumn.com.
Yeah. Is that gone? Check that. It's CalmColumn.com.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah,
so it started, and you're gone back to him?
Yeah.
Well done. And it's great. I think it's great for Holly and Alex as well to see you taking that lead.
He did. He said, look, Calm Column, you've helped me a lot. Can you come back? I'll rev you the money back.
Oh, the Revoluting. The amount of commentary I had on my Revolut situation with your man, where people think I'm being defrauded. No, we just have that kind of relationship where we just keep revoluting each other. That's in last week's episode. You have to listen to the one about grief, but also about therapy and our experiences, because there's so many little dingers in there you wouldn't have thought about therapy. Please like, subscribe, follow, engage, share this episode with people where it might be of help or just really entertaining. I think we all need a bit of entertainment, not just Black Rabbit. I hope you've enjoyed it and that it's been fun. There is an after show on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And enjoy that. That's just where I just have the chats.
Yeah.